expert at this. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
There we go.
There you go.
All right. See, I learned. I know that sound. I heard it on your call, so I know that's the way it's supposed to sound. So
yes, sir.
Awesome. And you know what? While we're waiting for everybody else to come onto the call, why don't we do this with respect to everyone's religion and everything? I want to give honor to my God, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So just gonna pray real fast. Heavenly Father, we praise you. We love you. We thank you for this day, Lord. We thank you for your blessings bestowed on us, Lord. We thank you for this holiday season, Heavenly Father. And we thank you for the participants on this call on tonight, Heavenly Father. May something be said, may something be taught, and may some things be learned. So future people who want to plan reunions are able to do so, maybe pick up a few tidbits and be able to have successful reunions to keep the John F. Kennedy Richmond Eagle legacy going, particularly when it comes to reunions. It is in Jesus' name that we pray and we thank you, dear Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Man. All right. Let's see. Real fast. So who do we have? We have Patsy Robinson, we have Andre Farr, and Sonia Jackson. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
it looks like Chris is on here now.
Praise God. Okay, that's it.
Chris
that's
hijacking the Eagles meeting.
I don't even know how to Zoom this, but I'm gonna do my best.
Okay.
So hold on, Pat. Are you telling me that Chris is not an Eagle?
Chris is at every high school in Richmond, California. Hello.
I'm not mad at it, but let me ask you this, Chris: if we were to have a snowball tonight, which colors would you be wearing if you walk through the doors? What should we look forward to seeing you in?
It would be.
Hey,
it
Chris
would
said
depend
he's
on
wearing
what
purple and blue. Now, how
look,
about that?
it would depend on what school is throwing it.
Right.
Supposed to go with white. It's a trick question.
Wow.
Right.
So look, let's not belabor the hour, though. I mean, we love, the city of Richmond, where we all from, and of course, love John F. Kennedy High School. I knew in 7th grade that I'd be attending there. I was a member. I was going to Adams, and early in the morning, the Adams bus used to come at 8:50 a.m. and I used to catch the 78 up to Kennedy, hang out at Kennedy. Kennedy would start, I believe, at 8:24 or 8:30 a.m. And then I walk around the corner and catch the bus to Adams. And I did that every day. And I knew that's why I would be going to school. And I was blessed to be able to do so for all 4 years. And just really cool with just about everybody I went to school with. And so that's why I'm thankful for y'all being here. And we're just going to say, too, real fast, so if you're not speaking at the moment, just please mute out. So, again, we're going to record this. But this is definitely some pertinent information, and because it just brings us to how we are to where we are now. So obviously, Mr. Farr is going to be on here. He's going to speak in just a minute. He's before my time, but definitely one of those foundation makers, if you will, as far as the legacy goes. And then there's a couple of other members that were supposed to be on here. I got 2 regrets so far, and that's cool. Maybe we'll have another call in the future. Who knows? But we're going to deal with what we got here, and we're going to glean what we can from those that are here. And so this first person I'm just going to bring on, I remember seeing him, I believe, back in the days, and he's got a brother who's a little bit younger than him, but we never really knew each other, honestly. And it wasn't until it's either 2 ways. It wasn't until, well, first off, we were at an event. A community event in East Oakland, of all places, and I was there as a DJ. It was a career day, and people would have their tables and whatnot and talk about their prospective careers. And so he had one. I remember letting him know that, hey, I work when I want to work. I make the money I want to make. You know what I mean? And I do what I want to do, basically. And so I met him formally that day, and then we linked up again on the set of ESPN's First Take, sitting right next to him. The Warriors were in the championships and the finals. And the brother was there with his blue blazer on and his yellow shirt, and I got to have a seat right next to him. So that's when we got real cool. So look, I've heard about the work you've done. I did a reunion picnic for the class of 1991 and 2011, and there were echoes that that Mr. Plummer had done something like that just before that. And see, I was new to Facebook, so I wasn't privy to that information. But please, any reunion is a great union in my mind. So I'm going to just go ahead and just step to the side and let you, Mr. Chris Plummer, go ahead and take the floor, share anything that you feel is on your heart for about 5 or 10 minutes or so, if you desire to do so, and we're just going to be all ears.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, and just thank you again, man, Ron, for the opportunity to be a part of a collaborative voice when it comes down to planning reunions and events.
I'm sorry, Chris. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to be taking notes, you guys. I told Ron I would do that, although it's going to be recorded. Someone else is on. It just looks like iPhone, but I have Ron, Dre, Sonia, Chris, myself, Patsy, and is somebody else on?
Aquarius.
Okay. How do you spell your name? Sorry about that.
Okay, that's fine. It's MICQUARIUS,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and then the last name is DUNKLEY.
Okay. E. Dunkley. Okay. Okay, Aquarius, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that, Chris.
Okay.
No, it's all right. Perfectly all right. So, and I really won't need all of that time. So I'll probably just ask other people to like interject in based upon their expertise and or perspective as well. I'm a part of a collaborative team when it comes down to planning events. And so I make sure that my team is capable of doing their part based upon their gifts of what they're qualified and skilled to do. I'm not a know everything, but I know the people that I'm working with, we can get the job done. So basically, any event, especially when you picking reunions, when it comes down to the class, the type of reunion, whether it be like a 10-year, 5-year, or just say open all class reunions, can go so many different ways. But it's up to the vision of the team to come together and make a few recommendations. And then it's just a 3P statement: a purpose, pursuit, and plan statement. And it's understanding what the purpose is, what classes are we reaching out, and then it's the method in which we choose to create the events. We have been fortunate over the past like 3 decades to do a 3-day event, very inexpensive ticket price, because it's always been pretty much $89 for the 3 days. We have a mastermind concept of trying to do business with people we went to school with or from our community, because we're just sowing seeds back into our community. Just like to say the Black Dollar, how many trips does the Black Dollar make into its own community? So that's the other thing. And I can't remember who, I don't know if it was Tam or someone else recommended we try that method, but it has worked with excellence, and the opportunities that we have been great. First and foremost, you cannot—
Time out, Mr. Plummer, real fast. Quick time out.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you dropping nuggets, bro. Just slow it down just a little bit. You are dropping some nuggets. I just want to let you know.
Okay.
You said a lot already. So, okay, proceed just a little bit slower for us. Because, I mean, I'm taking notes as well, because that's what I do. But, yeah,
okay.
Proceed, man. You do business with alumni, and here we go.
Yeah, so establishing a 3P statement, meaning your purpose, pursuit, and plan. It is important to have those things figured out, and then this, based upon the type of event you're throwing, how do we build this event and how can we sow back into our community? Because if it's an away event such as a cruise and whatnot, I know cruises basically go to the pay of the travel agency. So let's go to the travel agents within our community and see what we have and who will be the best suitor for the event. If it's something local, then we'll look at local businesses within our community, preferably ones that not just in our community, but of our alums, and see how we can invest into them, and then they pour into us. So just making sure that we can recycle the dollar. The other thing is, we can't please, and that is not our job, to please everyone. It is impossible. So let's throw out the concept of pleasing everyone. It's impossible. And let's just be able to create a event on a platform that is suitable, keyword suitable, for what the nature of the event is. And we start there. The consensus of the core group will determine the outcome or the direction we'll go. My job as a facilitator is to usher with wisdom and grace in the direction that we're going and point out all risk, challenges, and possibilities to make sure it's going to be a successful event. Establishing a financial account or an understanding of what is being paid and who's going to be repaid and how it's done is another thing. And I encourage everyone with this verbiage, if you are able to give, then give. But we cannot take a loan, because a loan is something you expect to be paid back. And if the event is not a success, then we won't be able to pay you back. With that understanding, then we'll work with what we have. And then ask all kinds of questions. The only stupid question is an unasked question, because we want to make sure that all grounds are covered. What I may be lacking in knowledge and or experience, someone in the team may be able to make that up and be able to share from their perspective, which then broadens our range of scope on how successful we'll be at it. Tone, being able to lay a foundation in establishing your core group is very vital, because as long as we have an understanding of this is the method of practice that we're going to, because methods can also be changed and altered, but as long as we're in the same understanding of how we're going to handle business, it has to be handled that way. Because too many heads make a mess of everything, to be honest. There'll be, it's okay to have a disagreement, and everything doesn't have to go my way, but it has to go in favor of the ultimate goal, which is the needs of the greater, or the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And our job is to, again, create an event that the majority can benefit from, and it be done successfully. So with that being said, I took a lot of advice from the core people in our group. There were things that, as a facilitator, that I didn't agree with, or I didn't have an answer to, or I didn't see how it was going to manifest, so to speak. But we just, out of obedience and faith, we went out on the risk. And actually, I don't think we've had a loss. This last reunion, we didn't have a loss, period.
That's important.
And it was great. When it came down to, I'll just say this, when it came down to food, there was always food left over. So budget accordingly. You may think you have barely enough. Sometimes barely enough is more than enough. So, and then have a contingency plan for that by sowing the seed back into a community, finding maybe a group home or someone that we can donate the food to immediately, so it would not perish. Again, because we're sowing seeds within our community as well. Patsy was a part of that team. Patsy, did you want to add anything to this conversation?
Sorry, I was on mute. Sorry. No, I think you really did say it all. I just feel like right now, given where we are with, all of the classes collaborating together here, I don't know who, or kind of, Ron, if you can speak on, are we just meeting as a collaborative because you want to have eventually an all reunion kind of all class reunion? I mean, because I think that I think that would be a very good idea, because I'm just really concerned that some classes don't have as much support as other classes do. And it would be nice if we all could just kind of do something to celebrate each other and have a great time. I remember Dre, well, that is not what Dre you did it was a big old thing that you did at, what was that, in Emeryville, wasn't it? I think it was in Emeryville. Yeah.
About it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so it was, and I think, did you do it 2 times? Maybe
Yes,
more? Yeah, at least, oh, 4, 5.
cool. Yeah.
Anyway,
At
I don't
least
know,
two
a lot
times.
of times. I remember, so it was a real big, it was a real big success. Everybody got together. It was, really nice to see some of the teachers or whoever, alumni, what do we call
Yeah.
them? Alumni teachers?
Yeah. Alum staff.
and
Yeah.
coaches and just to let them to say thank you and to give them their flowers also, because not that we owe them anything, of course, but we have come this far and we need to show them that their work means a lot too. So if that's what this is about and what this group is for, which is what I was assuming, then I'm really all for it. I think Chris is right on it when it comes to just talking about the overall need for or the purpose of whatever it is we're planning for. And then of course we can put our heads together based on our gifts and skills and abilities, and as well as our experience, to just say, hey, we can run with this person. We can, a lot of times I want to throw this word out too, as a manager, and in groups when we are facilitating, a lot of times the responsibility is called delegate, so you want to have some people that you can say, hey, I want to delegate this, and so we're not the group, let's just say it's the 6 or 7 of us. I think it's 7 of us now on with Aquarius. Then we're not just the only people working just because we're the group. We're going to delegate responsibility to others to ensure that we accomplish whatever it is we need to accomplish. So I think that we have a good core group of people so far, representing different classes, and also just we it just so happens, now I don't know what's coming up with future meetings, but it just so happens that we almost seemingly have an equal amount of male and females, which is very, very good as well. So I'm excited. And yeah, honestly, because a lot of times, it's just all women, or it's just like, oh God, I don't want to be in this group. So, whatever. But I think that's a plus also. And not just, we don't just have, people who are in class of 88 or 86 or whatever it is. We have a different, people from of different experiences and different classes. And I know that Sonia, if you guys don't know her, I know her personally. She is a worker bee. And y'all don't dog my friend out once she start working, okay? Because she will do everything y'all tell her to do, and then some, and it's gonna be like, girl, she won't go to sleep at night until she get it done. I promise you. So I think we have a good core group, and look forward to hearing more about what we're gonna be doing together. Thanks, Chris. I do. I think that you hit a lot. You hit all the points.
Yeah, I thank you very much for just being confirmation. And that's a lot, where you have people that work with you on the project team, and there are other managers as well. I'm a student teacher. I'm learning before I can teach anything. And leading with grace and being humble it is just vital to communication ethics, of how we say what we say to get the job done. And to Patsy's point, delegation is key, and being able to trust the people you are delegating these tasks to is great. I think and help me if I'm wrong, but I think the purpose of this group is to equip, to empower, and to educate alums on how to put on reunions of any magnitude, whether it be something short, like something once a quarter, or something annually once a year, or every 5 years to 10. each of those are could be fantastically different and great events. I think the most important thing is the value of time. What can we get done that is sentimental and collective, but yet personal in that time? Because we're people of particular ages. And so to me, if I ever have you, one, you can't just come to my house. You have to be invited. So when you are invited to my home, there's an atmosphere that I set and I have established. And so with that atmosphere, not only are you a guest, but you also treated like family. So I want to make sure that when we come together, we can come together as families, and we look at other classes that haven't been able to produce reunions and whatnot. Then we look at the area of need and see where these opportunities are. And then we get in as servant teachers, servant leaders, because we want them to show them the ability to lead in an event of that magnitude and represent their class. So developing leaders, as you know, coming from a humble servant perspective, is the most effective way we can do it. So if anybody, whoever is watching this, that is basically what I have, you know, put the consensus of the makeup of this group. And that's, if it's anything other than that, I would just need to be informed now before I misspeak.
No, you're 100% right. Pat asked the question and you just answered it. That was a thought process. Keeping in mind, Aquarius, what's your class? I want to say she's 93, possibly 94. You have to unmute yourself real fast.
They've been taken to homicide. The driver told us already passed.
She might not
Well,
be
once,
on right
twice,
now.
Aquarius. Right. I believe she's class of 94, and to my knowledge, class of 94 has not had a reunion. Sonia is on the line, and she just told me Friday night she was working late. She was burning midnight oil patch when I talked to her. Still at work, still working. So you just, you just affirmed everything that I saw the other night and heard the other night.
Oh my gosh. Dre has a lot of
she's had
experience
one
too.
reunion since.
Oh, sorry about that, Ron. I was just gonna say, Dre has a lot of experience too, and can throw some good nuggets as well.
Oh yeah, Dre's coming.
He can throw
coming.
way more than the nugget.
You're right. Okay,
I ain't gonna
all right.
downplay that.
Dre,
All right,
Dre
a whole
has a
chicken.
special
A whole
gift,
chicken.
and I'm not even gonna have to ask him. He probably gonna share it anyway. But my point is, I think Sonia said she's 97, and they had
Ron.
out here. Yeah.
Ron.
Yes. Yes,
Hi,
she is.
this is Sonia. Aquarius is my class of 1995.
All right, both of y'all class of
1995.
All right, and y'all had a de facto reunion,
We're
so to speak,
1995.
right?
And
Yeah.
right, and in 2013 we did have a reunion, like get together. And so next year I'm want to be in the process of starting, because I was class president, starting our 30th year reunion. So that will be in the works pretty soon. So we're gonna have 10 months of planning.
And perhaps some here will help you with those plans. So the idea was, my class 91, we are a very well liked class. My class, you know, people from 89 hang out with us. Class of 93, they hang out with us. And the thing about it was, I don't know if we had a 5-year reunion, but we hadn't had a reunion. And when the 20th year came around, the plans did not materialize. And one of the reasons, one of the nuggets I would share, that when you planning a reunion is unfortunate, so to speak, but not if you're prepared. And that is to know that you're going to sell a lot of tickets right before the reunion comes up. So if you have a deadline date, like 6 weeks before, even if you cut that off, you're going to have people going to want tickets after that. So anticipate that, and just, make sure that that you make room for those people to come a little bit later. So we didn't have one, which led to the picnic. And we had it in 2011 at the park behind Kennedy. So Kennedy was in the background. And so we had that nostalgia of that. And we had 33 people that I graduated with that were there. And it was so nice and everything that we thought we would do it again. And we did it the next year. And it was over 100 Eagles that showed up to the same park. And we just had a wonderful time. And then we went across the street to the Animal House. If you know, the Animal House across the street. And we were there till like 6 a.m.
Lord have mercy.
Partying all night long. Yeah, it was like that. To the DJ got tired and said, "All right, this is the last song, y'all." And it was like that. It was like that. So I'm just saying that to say, Class 92 had a great reunion. After that, I talked to the members. We'll look to get them to be able to share some information. Class of 93 had a great reunion, a prom reunion at Kennedy in the cafeteria. So that might be something that people might want to pencil in for a possible venue. If you don't know, Kennedy is being remodeled as we speak. They're not using the main buildings now for classes. It's going to be torn down. It's going to be rebuilt. They're going to add windows, much to my dismay. You know, I tried to say something at the meeting, but they wouldn't hear me. But, you know, y'all know in our days, if you had windows, people going to be sitting in the economics class looking at the sideshow going out outside at 45th and Cutting. You know what I mean? So it would have been a huge distraction. But I think people learn how to drive since then, and they don't drive so recklessly now. But I'm saying that to say they're going to have an event center, so to speak. The cafeteria opens up to the outside, and it's going to be beautiful. So that may be a possible venue for a class reunion and maybe a larger reunion, as Patsy alluded to. So who knows? I hadn't anticipating planning from this particular thing. However, if y'all are on board, y'all just say so, and we can start talking about some maybe for next year or something like that. So that was the reason for the call. And, you know, out of this, maybe become a mastermind, or at least people have y'all names and maybe they can inbox you and tap in and just get a little bit more information, or a specific question might be asked. Like, for instance, before I let you go, Mr. Plummer, Chris, I just want to ask you, first of all, you didn't say your class, the year that you graduated, and we all should have done that. I'm class of 91. But the second thing is, how did you go about raising money for that event? And the reason why is because about a month and a half ago, someone posted a GoFundMe link and they said it was for a reunion. And for me, it was a red flag. I'm like, whoa, you know, what's going on with this? So I inboxed her and ended up being on a Zoom call that day with her classmates. And they were doing some things. The reunion is not this year, it's a little time off. But they had some elaborate plans, about $11,000 worth of plans, and they were halfway there. And half that money came through a GoFundMe. So I'm not recommending that people do that. But what I'm saying is, you might not want to take that off the table, because another thing I've noticed is sometimes the few have to make way for the many. You know, some people just don't have, for the sake of math, $91 for an event. You know what I mean? I like that, Chris. 89, 91. So I put price tags like that too when it comes to our events. But what I'm saying is, why not have a benevolent fund for those people? You know, just in case. We don't want nobody to be able to not reunite with classmates. It's a special thing. Once all your plans come together, everyone comes out, and then you see somebody you haven't saw since y'all walked the stage, across the stage together. You know what I'm saying? It is just a special thing. The last time I experienced that personally was at Arla Bowles' funeral. And if y'all were there, y'all know I got on the microphone then and said, we need to stop having reunions like this at funerals. And we need to come together, be purposeful. Man, my guy used a few more P's just a moment ago. And planning it and everything. There we go. Purposeful, pursue it, and also planning. You know what I mean? So purpose of this plan. Again, there you go. Yeah, I got a few little notes. Got some notes here.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir. So yeah, I'll turn it back over to you to say whatever you want to say.
So as it relates to the fundraising, everyone's plan or path may be different. So the GoFundMe may work for a class where it wouldn't work for another. And again, I start off any conversation like this. If you do not have money to give, because we're not loaning money. If you do not have money to give, then do not give it. Because if the event fails, every event is an investment. And with an investment, there's a risk. So methods have to change in order to be successful, and you cannot have success without failing somewhere and not being afraid to fail. But I say walk in wisdom in all that you do, because our core group took care of the expenses with an understanding that there isn't a risk. We could have a national disaster. There could be any kind of economy calamity, and there still be a risk. So that has to be understood when planning the event. If they were able to raise the money that they raised and be able to pull off the event, good for them, because that's what's worked for them. And they all have an understanding of how that goes. Having a core group to make sure that everything is executed and there's the level of accountability, because we definitely had levels of accountability, definitely. And we're able to even understand when we thought there was going to be a loss. We were already with the understanding embarking on this event that may be the possibility, and we're good. The blessing about that was we made money and was able to pay everyone back that gave. And that was for those who wanted to accept it. Because there was some was like, well, when I gave, and it was it. But you remember God said, you reap what you sow. So we're reaping the benefits of the sacrifices that we made. Everyone's situation is different. I want to actually give time for Brother Andre to share, because I've been to a few of his events, and that was a bar. That was a bar. I ain't gonna say I couldn't reach ever, but I couldn't reach that day.
The gentleman is in a league of his own. So
it was.
Did you have anything else?
Very effective, very well put together, very polished.
I want to say this about the tickets. I don't know about who you were talking about the GoFundMe, but most of the time, with reunion planning, you kind of look at the cost of things in advance, and then set the ticket cost accordingly in a way so that you'll hopefully have enough people to then participate. Right. And then, you don't have to do all that. The GoFundMe, I'm not sure how that would work, but, it might, if we were doing something really big and, but for people who cannot participate because they are, less fortunate and may not have all of the money. Of course, we do want them to participate, and we have always made room for them as well. So even where, if it were, and let me just say this too, like housing and hotel, and I mean, you name it, we will sometimes, we have to plan for that, and we put that into the cost, and we'll say, well, here's where the reunion is going to be, here are hotels around that area, blah, blah, blah. A lot of times, though, people will come back to town and stay with their own families, so it's like, I will be curious, once, not in this call, because I know Dre is about to talk, but I would be curious to know how a GoFundMe would be, kind of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
That was the other thing I was going to
touch on. Keep in mind, we're not advocating GoFundMes. We're not advocating.
No. I just been thinking about it since you said it, and I was like, how is it going to work? But anyway.
Right. So that was the thing that I was touching bases on the level of financial accountability. Because that is vital. The other thing is, we get back to purpose. We can't please everybody, and that's not our goal. But if we create an event that's a span of a couple of days, that's why we chose 3. Somebody can always make it to at least one night. Somebody can always make it to at least one night, so they can pay the price for the one night of the event, and one night or 2 nights. But if you make it affordable, because again, it was $89 for the whole weekend. That was 3 days. So you may not be able to make it for everything, but you can at least come to something. And I think that is a very effective opportunity that we have been really blessed on, because the things that took place during those nights, the conversations you've had with people who you haven't seen in years, that you have a good core or good standing relationship with. I think it was the exchange, something about 50 plus. We view time and energy different, and value. We value each other differently. And those were conversations that I had that I will be ever so thankful, because the space was created to have that. And so with that being said, on creative spaces, Brother Andre, you got it from here, man.
Well, real fast before we let him go. You're absolutely correct. And I like the idea of 3 days. And my thought process with that was, what if you have somebody's flying in from out of state or traveling a good distance? you make it worth their while when they get there. You know what I mean? The flip side, of course,
Yeah.
is like you said, it may be a little bit too much, but then, you know, folks can pick or choose the events that they want to go to if they're able to. And then, you know, hopefully everybody can come to everything. But you're right. So yeah, man, thank you for your time, Mr. Plummer. Very, very much. I mean, the nuggets, please. I hope folks are taking notes as soon as they jump on this thing, because it's some good, great information here. I'm sure the other ladies are taking notes as well. But now to Mr. Farr, though, I just have to say this. I went to school. I started in 87. His last year was 87. So he was gone when I got there, but I was with his little brother, DeMarco. And I think when I first talked to Andre, he reached out to me, he needed a DJ, and I was a referral, and he reached out to me. I thought it was DeMarco. Okay, this is Big Brother. All right. So he told me what his vision was and everything. And I mean, even when he tells you, you get excited about it, but once you get there, it's like, oh my God, this thing is bigger than what I thought it was going to be. To have alumni from all different ages and everything coming together. So he knows what he's doing when he does what he do. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why he's here tonight. And I thank you for your time as well, Mr. Farr. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
So soFirst of all, thank you, to all of you, King Ron, King Chris, and the Queens, Sonia and Patsy, and forgot the other lady's name because I don't see it there.
Aquarius.
Aquarius, Queen Aquarius. That works. You know, for me, I just think it's really looks like we're going in the right direction, even by having the conversation started. Chris really covered everything. I really don't have much more to add. Patsy, you've covered a lot. For me, when I'm doing the events, part of the reason that I facilitate them differently is because I kind of produce the events with the idea of ensuring maturity, morality, and mutuality. So what I mean by that is I want to make sure that when we come in there, we're representing, the best of Kennedy. When we step in, we step in with respect for one another, respect for the time that we shared together in high school. Because to be honest, some of the times that we shared in high school are some of the best times of our lives.
Yep.
And so why not come back and celebrate that in a way that is reflective of how amazing we are as people? And so, I live in Los Angeles. I have a few companies that produce different things. So one of the things I want to do was to bring back that type of upper market, high end event. Like I want people to feel comfortable putting on a suit, feel comfortable with, white glove service and whatnot. Not to be, I don't know what they even call it now, but not to be flashy at all, not to be out there, but really just because we respect one another. Mm-hmm. Like I love to see that when Ron came, he and his uncle DJ'd when we had it in Walnut Creek, and it's just white glove service. So for me, there are ways to help with the financing. So what I did, I'll just share what I did. One, when I first put it on, there were people who didn't understand what I really wanted to do, Chris. They're like, man, I don't know, Dre, I don't know. So I just paid for it myself, right? I paid for the whole thing. And then whatever came back was fine. Just like Chris said, if it makes money, great. If it doesn't, fine. The idea is about the time. It's about the experience. That is the victory. That is, for me, that is what success is. In the years that came after that, I brought in some people who were looked upon as like trustees. And so we would pay our dues, and that amount would kind of pay for most of the event. And then we would, have people pay to come. And then we would hope that would take care of everything. And then the third year And the fourth year, what I did was I leaned on, again, myself, and then I leaned on sponsors. I was able to bring in Lexus. I was able to bring in American Express. Different things like that. They can offset your costs really well if it's done in a way that was reflective of, something that they would like to be associated with. So those are some of the things that you can do if you have, a significant amount of time when you're planning it. Like an all-class reunion, I think would be amazing. Doing the multi-day thing, I've never done it because, to be honest, I'm worn out after the one day. If I'm gonna give all of it to this one night, then Chris, you're gonna have to do the next night or the next day or whatever, because I'm just gonna chill because it really takes a lot out of you. Patsy said something about delegation. And then Chris came back. You can delegate, but you got to be able to trust the people you're delegating to, because at the end of the day, failure is not an option. Too many people are counting on it. And then the last thing I'll say, and I'll just leave it alone without trying to sound bougie or something. One of the things that I don't like is, and Chris knows, we've kind of had this conversation a long time ago. Some people expect things to not go right, And I am just total opposite. I expect it to go incredibly well. That's in my mind's eye, the optimistic person that's what I'm seeing as I'm working. I think Chris does the same thing. When you're working on the event, your mind's eye is seeing the positive. Mm-hmm. But lo and behold, you're going to have some people who come up and they come, man, blah, 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 blah. And why we got to wear suits and da, 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 da. Chris said it best, and like I said, he could have just put this at the top of this call and said, you cannot please everybody, okay? Long as you understand that, you will enjoy this entire process. But there are many ways to do it. Make sure you understand what you want to do. But if I can give you just one real piece of advice, it's the event should reflect how you feel about your high school experience.
Absolutely.
That's how you should feel that way when you walk in. Okay. So those are my thoughts.
Brother Andre, I just want to say I have a great appreciation of your perspective because there are times where you, within the resources of people, the options may be very slim.
Yeah.
So if you are blessed to be able to embark on that journey in that manner, then that is an awesome task. I don't think within our class, I don't think we've ever been put in that position. I think that the experiences that are here just in this call are great because there are multiple ways to get the job done. And you now know what it takes. You're absolutely right. Some people may not understand the grandness of things. And the grandness is not to be greater or be elaborate to impress anyone else, but it's how we value the guest, our family that we haven't seen. And that's why I say how we spend our time and where we spend our time should be the focal point. We may never get this opportunity again, may never.
What's funny about that, Chris? This is what I told our team on the third one we did. I had this long conversation in a meeting, and I told them, I want you guys to look to the left and look to the right.
Yeah, you did.
Next year, somebody may not be here. Uh-huh. And so when you're putting something on, remember, time is the only thing you cannot get back. You can get back money, you can get an apology, you can get all these things back, but you can never get time back. So if someone is trusting their time with me, I want to make sure that they have the best experience possible, or I laid it out the best I could. Yeah. And I think when you do that, most people, not everybody, but most people appreciate it thoroughly. Yes. And the last thing I'll say about that, when you do that, Ron and Patsy, Chris, Sonia, and the Queen, I wish she would put her name up because her
Aquarius.
Aquarius. I'm gonna put you on the.
Don't worry, she was like 12th grade when she learned how to say it herself.
Aquarius. But the truth is that when people trust you with that time, you create memories.
Yes.
And those memories they will never forget. They will never just see how Ron was talking about how they went to the park, then they went to the animal house and those kind of things. If you are doing it with the guest in mind, you're doing it with your classmate in mind, man, lay it out, do the best that you can. And I take a full advantage of what Chris is talking about. Sometimes it took me just to lay my money out and not worry about getting it back because it was about putting on something that the guests would appreciate.
Well, I think sometimes, especially with Dre, and your events, Andre, I feel like because you said something that was so poignant, and Chris, I agree. Like you definitely can't please everybody, and it's like it's not about grandiosity. It's not about, like you said, being bigger than so and so or doing it better than so and so.
Right.
And Andre, you said specifically, quote unquote, the event should reflect how you feel about your high school experience.
Yes.
Amen.
I think that the difference sometimes is just that when we delegate and pick people and we want to trust those people, it's like in my work, I think about, there's this song in church, let my work speak for me. Everything it's a reflection of myself.
Yes.
First of all,
everything
I do, whoever I choose, if whoever I want to work with, how we work, whatever it is, and how something comes across, what we put on, what it looks like, how the event, like once we determine the purpose of it and this, that, and the other, then it's gonna be great. Because like you said, Dre, like I'm great. I don't lose. I'm not a loser. I don't fail. I don't.
No.
So it's like I'm going, hey Chris, I'm running. If the core group is sorry, I'm off of the team. I don't even want to do it. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm not doing it. So it's like we all have a talent and we all are
That's it.
we are all eagles and we all have something to celebrate. And so, we're very sharp, we're smart. And we put our brains together and those talents, and we could come up with something really grand and something so wonderful and memorable for people. And in this day and time, I just am so much more about a good time, a good time for everybody to just enjoy each other, because I don't know if it's my age or what, but I just be like, God, dog, you dying too? I hate Facebook. I'm like, that's the new obituary pages in the darn newspaper to me.
You is right about that.
I'm serious.
Lord.
Help me out, Aquarius. I'm like, okay, I'm off. I'm done. So I think that celebrating each other it doesn't even have to be like, we're going to give an award to someone. So I want to give an award to everybody. Everybody look under your chair. Everybody get a reward.
Right.
Because you're here. We made it. And I just love you guys I'm just so happy. I'm elated. And I think the event will be whatever kind of event, or I'm sorry, that's my brother is calling me right now. But, whatever it is, it would be a reflection of who we are, and then it can grow and just like a tree, it'll flourish and new branches and new leaves and stuff like that. So I agree with all of it. I think all of this information is just wonderful. It's so much talent on this one call. I appreciate it.
Brother Ron, may I add
yes, sir.
this? I want to, just from a leadership perspective, Now, we are all leaders based upon how we have arrived into our leadership positions. For me, when it comes down to failing and or losing, I really don't mind it. It produces character. It produces character and integrity. You will learn from your mistakes. You will learn from the opportunities. And I think because we've had failed attempts here and there, for me, it taught me how to see it outside of my box and outside of my perspective, and just there's going to be risks that you have to take. But if you look at everybody,
my brother's on the call. Hi, Dion.
Hey, Dion.
Hey, what's going on? How y'all doing?
All right. If you look for me spiritually, everybody that God used failed at something, had a hang up, had a struggle and whatnot. So that was very humbling perspective when you look at effective leadership. So being able to, like I said, what I may have failed at, what I may have failed at, I may be able to learn from Brother Andre or from Sister Patsy or Aquarius. I could learn from anybody because I don't want to repeat it again, and I need insight that's outside of my range of scope. So for some people could do it themselves and they don't have to go outside of their range of scope. That's great. But when you're working with a collective, I need my team to speak from experience and concern.
We all need help.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And let me clarify that. When I say I don't lose. I just improve. I get better. I learn. I grow.
Right.
You know, so it's no losers. You know, nobody really is not a loss necessarily. It's just everything is a gain because we're gaining knowledge and everything like that.
Right.
Dion, welcome to the call. 89 in the house. Hey.
For sure.
So I'm gonna say this. Well, welcome, Dion. It's Dre.
Hey, what's going on, Dre?
What's up? So listen, I have a bit of a different perspective, out of respect for everybody. I don't believe in the word failure. I believe that you win some and you learn some. Okay.
Yeah.
You never lose. You learn. And then once you learn, you graduate from that.
Yep.
And sometimes you'll know what not to do, who not to do it with, when not to do it, all those things, right? But the other thing is, I want to say some very, very, I want you guys to put this in your mind's eye and think about this. When you go to Kennedy now, Kennedy is much different as a high school than when we went to school. So the years that we're celebrating, I'm 87, you're 89, you're 91, you're 94, blah, blah, blah. That school that's there now is not what it was then. So I want you to understand something. These reunions are the reflection of when we were there.
Right.
So in order to experience it again, it comes from these events. So that's why the events are so important to have. Because like I said, those times, I know for Dion, some of the best time in his life was at Kennedy, right?
Absolutely.
Winning championships. Winning championships.
Yes,
all the stuff that we had to go through. We had challenges, man, but those challenges made us champions. And so, so I'm just saying to you guys, in any little bit I can give you, when you're putting these on, keep that in your mind. I don't care if we playing kickball somewhere, if we at the bowling alley, or if we're doing the Andre Farr suit, black tie situation, whatever we're doing, just remember it's a reflection of that time and how we respect each other and how we respect our school. That's what it is. And when we leave there, we want to say, man, we did that. 89 did that. 91 did that. Right. We all did that. Okay. So yeah. That's my thoughts.
Before we end the call, we want to be respectful for the time. We're approaching the 1 hour mark. I'm not sure if there are any questions from because the majority of have been our voices. Aquarius or Sonia, other questions, and with your yay or nay, please tell us your the year that you graduated again, just for edification.
I'm an Aquarius Dunkley, class of 1995.
And any questions?
No, I don't have any.
Okay. And Sonia?
This is Sonia. I am class of 1995. Yes. One question that I have is that when you look at it being you have to put down a deposit or you have to pay for certain things. One of my questions is like, what method or what's the best practice for paying for a deposit, or paying for those things, because most times they want a credit card. So who credit card do you use? Do you set up a group account? In paying for tickets, what mode of payment do you use? Do you use Cash App? Do you use Eventbrite? And then again, whose credit card is that money going to go to? So my questions are more or less like financial responsibility and accountability when we're paying out for certain things.
For us, what we did, Tamara was our financial advisor, and the money that was collected from the core group to go towards anything that needed to be secure, we gave to her. When it came time for the payment to be made, she used her account to secure every venue that we've had. As far as receiving the money for tickets, it was through a PayPal Eventbrite account. And it was something that we've had established since we started doing reunions, I think maybe 30 years ago. So it's the same account that's been used over and over and over. And that's where the money remains, or whatever balances that have, carried over and whatnot. And she was the financial advisor for that. There were 4 of us that were overseers that kept in contact in regards to the finances, but the entire group had questions that could be answered. And if the inquired group had questions they need to ask, it was not a problem with them asking. So that's how we had it established. Other people may have other methods. I'm only going to speak to ours, and it's been successful ever since we've been doing it.
Amen.
Okay. Dre, do you have anything to add to that?
No, my method is different. I respect, and I think Chris's is probably the best. One little wrinkle, like I told you, I self-funded most of the time when I did it. But the other thing is I created a 501c3 nonprofit for it. And so therefore, we're able to, the idea was to continuously do it and to have grant writing, have sponsorship and all that stuff. So the people who participated, they got a tax write-off. So that's one of the things that I think was kind of innovative about it. But I think for just, doing it over and over and over, if you're not going to go that route, I think Chris's route is the best one, because they've established it and they've been doing it for 30 plus years. So if no one has any problems with it, that's great.
No, well, we didn't encounter any of that at all. Now, thank God, especially this last one, because there were so many opportunities and things that had to be covered and whatnot, and we were able to meet our timeline and our goals. Amen. And again, we gave with the understanding that we're giving, we're not loaning. Amen. But the blessing behind that is everyone was paid back what Amen. They gave. Amen. And we still had a plus. So and then Sonia, real quick, for your ticket sales, we sold tickets all the way up until probably 2 hours before the event.
Come on in.
I'm gonna just tell you right now, something within our community will have people spring into action. The last 24 hours, they will come out of the woodworks, and so
what it is.
Just understand that is a high likely possibility, and I'm just gonna lead with that.
Chris, did you say spring into action?
Spring into action. Money come out of nowhere. We sold 13 tickets 5 hours before the event. What?
Okay, I'm gonna say this one thing, and I think y'all find this funny. There was one guy who was talking to me. There's one guy who was talking to me for like 6 to 8 weeks before the event, and he's like, "Dre, I don't know if I'm gonna have this money. I don't know if I'm gonna have this money, whatever." So finally he came up with the money, just like Chris said, right? He showed up, but he also had a brand new suit, right? And he was telling me he forgot that he was telling me he may not have the money, but he said,
Wow.
man, I went and got this brand new suit, blah, blah, blah. So you're right. People spring into action at some point.
Dang. He had him a suit and everything.
He had him a suit and everything.
Sonia,
Yeah.
it's a lot of things. And we can talk another time too, Sonia, about like tickets. And it's an hour already, but I was gonna just share some of the things that we did too, to just prepare people in advance so that you can give them kind of an idea of what the cost will look like, and hopefully you can start utilizing those funds too. But in with respect for time, that's 8:02. Then we can talk. We'll talk later. But but it's a couple of things that we usually do to try and get that money going.
Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you all's time. What's up, D? You have something to say?
Thank you, Patsy. Thank you.
No.
I would get ready to close it out with just a few thoughts. If everyone is done.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I just want to say to the prospective reunion planners, just know it's going to be worth it. You know what I mean? Dre didn't mention it, but I'll do it for him. He had a chance to give Coach Steve Alameda his flowers. And as you know, Coach Alameda passed away a few months ago. He's no longer with us, but he knew how we felt about him. I mean, he had a standing ovation in that room. And he talked to my cousin. He looks like he could be my uncle, but he's actually my cousin. Our mothers were sisters. We're both DJs, and he's an alumni too. He's class of 73, if I'm not mistaken. And that was our confirmation, was the fact that we both agreed to be there, and we did not have any other bookings on that day for both events that we attended. So, that to me, that was like a confirmation that we were supposed to be there. We're glad we were there, and we're looking forward to doing something again in this future. In the future, whenever he plans something else. But I think the last thing to say is just to take it seriously, because on that note, we don't know when we're going or if we're going to meet each other again. One of my classmates wanted to just do a brunch for the class of 91. And so we reached out and people reached back, but then it was Easter weekend. So we had to postpone it a month. And then when we did come together, there was only 4 people that showed up. And one of those people passed away 10 days later. Then on the day of his funeral, another one of our alumni who was on the phone with us but was too sick to show up passed away. During those plannings, another alumni reached out to me and told me she was in hospital with cancer, passed away. And we're talking about people who are 50 and 51 years old. So, time waits for no man or woman. You know what I mean? So we really have to take this thing seriously, come together, enjoy as best as possible, because like I believe Mr. Plummer said, you never know if we're gonna see each other again. You know what I mean? And the last thing I just want to just share is to know and find out who your leaders are. If you didn't hear, who's talented in what area, know and then you'll find out too who they are. And as far as money for our picnic, there were alumni who, there was a list of things we needed. There was someone said, okay, we need porta potties. Bam, here's $150 for porta potties. You need a photographer. Bam, here's the money for the photographer. And then there was even alumni, Nurse Gill, Harpaul Gill. I remember she wasn't even going to be at the event, but she donated like $260 for that. So many people, I can't even name them all, so forgive me, but they know who they are. Renee Smith and so forth, just a bunch of people. But the thing about it, the picnic, the one that was over 100 Eagles that were there was so nice, even though it was an overdraft day. So it drizzled just a little bit, but we hung when we enjoyed ourselves. There's supposed to be a pool party, and the idea of having a pool party is because none of us, I don't think none of y'all swam when y'all were at Kennedy, right? The pool was never open, right? It's full of everything else. So they had a new pool there. So it's like, we're gonna pick, we're gonna pool party, and we're gonna after party. We forgot all about the pool party, and guess what? The city of Richmond forgot to staff it. So what they said was, we'll give you a refund for what it's worth. And so they refunded me like $300. And I remember talking to Otis Dunn, look, more names are coming to mind, and I was going to divvy it up among those people, $300 something. And everybody told me, just keep it, just hold on to it. And that's what I did. I said, okay, I'll just use it for the next time that we have a reunion picnic. Haven't done it yet because we haven't had all the leaders like we have now. But, who knows what may happen in the future. You know what I mean? So, again, I want to appreciate and thank all y'all for being on the call. And I want to say for whoever hears this, I'm excited for you. You know what I mean? And you're gonna start planning your reunion. Pick up the book called Failing Forward. They talked about it tonight. There's a book that's actually called Failing Forward, and it just tells you how to do just that. When you fail, you keep moving forward. You know what I mean? You learn from it, you grow from it, and your lessons truly become your lessons. Blessings not just from, but for any and everybody that's able to participate in whatever it is that you put together. So with that said, hey, I'm done. Mr. Plum, I see you. Thank you, Patsy, for being here. Thank you for the notes. Maybe you can post them or copy them and paste them or post them if you want to. Mr. Farr, thank you again for all that you've done. Sonia, thank you for taking the time out and doing what you're going to do. Look, what you've done and also what you're going to do. And again, to Tracy, excuse me, Aquarius. Look, I told you she didn't know her name until she was 12th grade. She was Tracy all her life. No, take advantage of anytime somebody plans to do anything, if it's a trip to the movies or whatnot, y'all can hang out with some alumni, do it.
Yeah, I'll leave Sonia a message after we get off the phone to see if I can help in any kind of way.
And sounds good. Also, Mr. Clark, can't forget Deion Clark. Thank you too. I think Mr. Clark was one of the ones who referred me to Andre, which is how we, all this came to be.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. 100%.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, look, I love y'all.
All right.
Eagles fly high. Good night.
Eagles fly high. Good night.
Good night.
All right now. Bye-bye.
Also, thank you, Don Moultrie, for putting this together. Thank you very much. God bless.
Good night.